The night sky over Konoha shimmered with an eerie crimson glow as the infinite Tsukuyomi's genjutsu wrapped the world in an illusion of twisted dreams. The moon, now a monstrous Sharingan, cast its hypnotic light over the land, ensnaring countless souls in a fabricated paradise. But for Naruto Uzumaki, something was wrong, terribly wrong. His dream, which should have been a perfect reflection of his deepest desires, had fractured into a nightmare. The streets of Konoha, once bustling with laughter, now lay in ruin, the air thick with the scent of burning wood and blood. Shadows twisted unnaturally, and the voices of his friends, Sakura, Sasuke, even his late mentor Jiraiya, echoed with distorted malice. Naruto clenched his fists, his knuckles whitening as he gritted his teeth. "This isn't right," he muttered, his voice low but edged with rising fury. He could feel Kurama's chakra stirring within him, the Nine Tails' presence a familiar, reassuring growl in the back of his mind. "This isn't just a dream, Naruto," Kurama rumbled. "Someone, or something, has tampered with the Tsukuyomi." Before Naruto could respond, the ground beneath him cracked open, and from the fissure emerged a grotesque amalgamation of his fallen foes, Haku, Zabuza, even Pain, their bodies fused together in a writhing, monstrous form. Their hollow eyes locked onto him, and without warning, they lunged. Naruto barely had time to react, flipping backward as a barrage of senbone needles whistled past his face. He landed in a crouch, his blue eyes narrowing as he formed a familiar hand sign. Shadow Clone Jutsu. In an explosion of smoke, a dozen clones materialized around him, each mirroring his determined stance. The monstrous entity shrieked, its voice a dissonant chorus of the dead, and lashed out with Zabuza's massive sword. Naruto's clones scattered, some darting forward while others flanked, their movements synchronized. One clone leapt high, spinning midair to deliver a devastating axe kick, but the creature twisted unnaturally, catching the clone by the ankle and hurling it into a crumbling building. Another clone charged low, aiming a sweeping kick at its legs, but the creature dissolved into mist, reappearing behind Naruto with Pain's outstretched palm. Shinra Tensei. The force of the repulsion blast sent Naruto skidding across the ground, his body carving a trench through the dirt. He coughed, tasting blood, but forced himself upright. His orange jacket was torn, his skin scraped raw, but his resolve burned brighter. "I won't lose to some messed up genjutsu," he roared, his chakra flaring gold as he entered sage mode. The natural energy surged through him, sharpening his senses, and the world slowed around him. The creature lunged again, but this time, Naruto was ready. He sidestepped, his fist crackling with Rasengan as he drove it straight into the monster's chest. The spinning sphere of chakra tore through flesh and bone, but instead of collapsing, the creature's wounds stitched themselves back together, its laughter gurgling wetly. "You can't kill a dream, Naruto," it taunted in Haku's voice. Naruto's stomach twisted, but he refused to falter. If brute force wasn't enough, he'd have to dig deeper. Closing his eyes for a split second, he reached inward, calling upon Kurama's full power. His skin burned as crimson chakra erupted around him, forming the familiar cloak of the Nine Tails. His whisker marks darkened, his fangs elongated, and his pupils slit like a fox's. "Let's end this," he growled. The creature hesitated, just for a moment, before charging again. But Naruto was faster. He blurred forward, his clawed hand slashing through the monster's torso in a single, fluid motion. This time, the wound didn't heal. The creature howled, its form unraveling like smoke in the wind, but as it dissipated, a new voice echoed through the ruined village. "You're stronger than I expected. But this is only the beginning." Naruto spun, his enhanced senses on high alert, but the voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The ground trembled, and from the shadows emerged figures, his friends, their eyes blank, their movements puppet-like. Sakura, her fists clenched, stepped forward, her voice hollow. "Why are you fighting, Naruto? Just give in. And be happy." His heart pounded. This wasn't just a glitch, someone was weaponizing the Tsukuyomi. And if he didn't find a way to break it, the dream world would consume them all. The air crackled with tension as Naruto's vision blurred, the once serene dreamscape of the infinite Tsukuyomi twisting into a nightmare. The glitch had shattered the illusion, turning allies into frenzied foes, their eyes vacant yet burning with unnatural aggression. Sasuke's Sharingan spun wildly as he parried a vicious strike from Sakura, her fists glowing with chakra-enhanced fury. "Snap out of it," he growled, but her movements were relentless, every punch aimed to kill. Naruto ducked under a kunai thrown by an unrecognizable shinobi, his mind racing. The glitch wasn't just distorting the world, it was amplifying their darkest instincts. Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind, "This isn't just genjutsu, It's feeding on their fear. With a roar, Naruto unleashed a Rasengan, slamming it into the ground to create distance. Dust billowed around him as he formed hand signs, summoning shadow clones to restrain the mind-controlled fighters without lethal force. Nearby, Kakashi's Kamui flickered unpredictably, the glitch warping space itself. Obito, caught between reality and the Tsukuyomi's grip, staggered as his Sharingan bled. The dream's collapsing, he muttered, clutching his head. Kakashi seized the opening, his lightning cutter humming as he lunged, only for a monstrous chakra construct to intercept him. Madara, his form flickering like a broken projection, laughed. Fight all you want, this world is mine to reshape. The ground trembled as Madara's Susanoo materialized, its spectral blades carving through the battlefield. Sasuke's Rinnegan flared, his own Susanoo clashing against Madara's in a deafening shockwave. Naruto, now, he shouted. Naruto didn't hesitate, channeling Kurama's full power. Their chakras intertwined, forming the towering avatar of the Nine Tails, its tails lashing like whips of pure energy. Madara's grin widened. Perfect. With a snap of his fingers, the glitch surged, distorting their avatars. The Susanoo's armor fractured, Kurama's form flickering in and out of existence. Naruto gritted his teeth, their power was being drained. Think, adapt. He recalled Jiraiya's words, when the enemy controls the game, change the rules. Sasuke's voice cut through the chaos. We need to disrupt the glitch's source, the Tsukuyomi's core. Naruto nodded, slamming his palms together. Then let's hit it with everything. Kurama's chakra condensed into a massive tailed beast bomb, while Sasuke's Susanoo knocked an arrow of Amaterasu flames. They fired simultaneously, the combined force tearing through the dream's fabric. Madara's form wavered, his laughter turning into a snarl. You insects. The explosion consumed him, but the glitch only intensified, reality itself splintering. The ground split beneath them, swallowing Shinobi whole. Sakura, momentarily freed from the genjutsu, gasped as she plunged into darkness, only for Naruto's clone to grab her wrist. Hold on, he yelled, his muscles straining against the abyss. Above, Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed. There's no time, we end this. He teleported midair, his blade aimed at the sky where the Tsukuyomi's crimson moon hung, now fractured like broken glass. Naruto understood. With a final surge of chakra, he rocketed upward, Rasengan swirling in his palm. Together, they struck the moon. The world shattered. A deafening silence followed, then, light. The dream dissolved, the glitch's hold broken. Exhausted, Naruto collapsed to his knees, Sasuke barely catching himself beside him. Around them, allies stirred, confusion replacing bloodlust. But as the dust settled, a shadow loomed, Madara's silhouette, though fractured, began to reform. You've only delayed the inevitable, his voice echoed. Naruto clenched his fists, his resolve hardening. The battle wasn't over, it was just beginning. The air crackled with tension as Naruto and Sasuke stood back to back, their ragged breaths sinking in the grim silence of the infinite Tsukuyomi's fractured dreamscape. Around them, the once serene illusion had twisted into a nightmare, towering trees oozed blackened chakra, and the sky pulsed like a festering wound. Madara loomed above, his Rinnegan eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. You fought well, he taunted, but this world is mine to reshape. Naruto's fists clenched, Kurama's chakra flaring around him like a dying ember. Not while we're still standing, he growled. Sasuke's Sharingan spun wildly, analyzing every flicker of Madara's movement. He's exploiting the glitch in the Tsukuyomi, he muttered. One misstep, and we're trapped forever. Naruto nodded, his mind racing. They were exhausted, their reserves nearly depleted, but giving up wasn't an option. With a shared glance, they lunged, Naruto's Rasen Shuriken humming as it carved through the air, Sasuke's Amaterasu flames lashing like black serpents. Madara countered with a sweep of his fan, deflecting the attacks with eerie precision, but Naruto smirked. Now, he shouted. Sakura's fist cratered the ground beneath Madara, her chakra-enhanced strike timed perfectly. He staggered, his defenses faltering for a split second, just long enough. Sasuke's Susanoo arrow streaked forward, piercing Madara's shoulder as Naruto's shadow clones swarmed, a whirlwind of fists and kunai. Madara roared, his body flickering like a corrupted image, the glitch in the Tsukuyomi reacting to his pain. You insects! He snarled, yanking the arrow free. But the damage was done, his control was slipping. The world trembled, cracks spider webbing through the illusion. Naruto felt the weight of every battle, every loss, surging through him. He thought of Hinata, of his parents, of every soul trapped in this false paradise. "We're ending this," he vowed, his voice raw with determination. Sasuke's smirk was faint but fierce. "Took you long enough to say it." Together, they channeled their remaining chakra, Naruto's Rasengan blazing with the power of all nine-tailed beasts, Sasuke's Chidori sharpened to a lethal edge. Madara sneered, raising his arms to summon the full might of the Tsukuyomi, but the glitch had spread too far. The sky shattered. Light erupted, blinding and pure. For a heartbeat, everything hung suspended, then the dream collapsed. Naruto's fist connected with Madara's chest, Sasuke's blade finding its mark in tandem. The tyrant's eyes widened as his body disintegrated into motes of fading chakra, his final scream swallowed by the void. The infinite Tsukuyomi shattered like glass, its hold on the world dissolving. Silence. Then, gasps, cries, the rustle of grass as thousands awoke from their forced slumber. Naruto crumpled to his knees, his body screaming in protest, but his heart lighter than it had been in years. Sasuke staggered beside him, his Sharingan dimming. "We did it," Naruto breathed, grinning through the pain. Sasuke huffed, but there was no malice in it. "Don't get sentimental, loser." The aftermath was a blur, reunions, tears, the slow rebuilding of a world freed from illusion. The villages, once divided, now stood united, their bonds forged in shared suffering. Naruto found himself surrounded by friends, their faces alight with relief. Hinata's hand slipped into his, her touch grounding him. "You saved everyone," she whispered. He shook his head. "We all did." In the days that followed, the shinobi world shifted. The cage convened, old grudges set aside in favor of a new era. Sasuke, his path no longer shrouded in vengeance, stood at Naruto's side as an equal, no longer rivals, but brothers in arms. The glitch in the Tsukuyomi had exposed the fragility of their world, but also its resilience. As the sun set over Konoha, casting the village in golden light, Naruto leaned against the Hokage monument, Sasuke beside him. "What now?" Sasuke asked. Naruto chuckled. "Now? We make sure it stays this way." The wind carried their laughter into the future, a future they'd fought for, bled for, and finally won. The dream was over. The real work had just begun.